So I just pulled up the playlist to start it at the first song, and this is Troubled Air by Sun. It's like you manifest these kinds of things or something. I don't know. It's weird. Welcome to yoga. Um, I've got two pillows. So go ahead and make sure that you have at least one pillow. I would recommend two. We're going to do a lot of yin stuff today. We'll do some very supported poses, really just trying to continue to cultivate that grounding that is so important at this point, and also work on some really, really slow breathing. And we'll get to that in a moment. I have felt very much lately like this whole situation with like the forest fires that are going on up here. It's a really good time to remember the importance of setting specific intentions and goals for our thought processes, for our actions, for our interactions with others, because like I keep saying, like the more we go into 2020, I'm just like, all right, what's next? Like whatever, throw it at me. I just don't want to deal with this anymore, so I want what's next. And unfortunately, every what's next seems to be just like, that was not on my apocalypse bingo card. What on earth is going to happen now? And so we can often get into these like thought processes, like thinking, I just want the fires to stop and the smoke to go away. I just want the fires to stop. Well, I don't want the fires to stop and the smoke to go away 3 months ago, or 3 months in the future after everything's burned to the ground. Obviously, I don't want that. So a better thought process in that regard would be to say, like, I want to see a timely, expedient controlling of these fires with the least amount of damage and displacement possible. I want to see my community come through this with the least amount of damage possible. I want to see the connections that are going to come about as a positive result of this. And I want to see lasting change in the way that we interact with our environment and with each other and with our own actions, so that we are less likely to cultivate environments or have accidents as they happen. But if we are more aware, if we are more present in the way in which we engage with our world, then we have at least slightly less likelihood of this happening. And to be really specific and intentional about that stuff can become a meditation. And to really dig in and say, like, I can't say I could, just like, I'm gonna make $1 million this year, and then like make that be like my like law of attraction, like just say it every day, like I'm making $1 million this year. Like that's assuming that I'm creating this like alternative existence where the money is just gonna fly out of the sky, which is, based on our experience, is unlikely. But if I were to say, I am going to continue to apply myself to my career and my financial house so that my needs are met in such a way that I am able to find joy and the capacity to continue to give back to my community, like finding those specific intentions, and then you create plans and you create awareness. And that's part of like the way that I teach yoga, is very much like, not just put your leg here, but how does it feel when you put effort or force into this part of the leg or the foot or that back leg, what's going on back there, and then where's the alignment of the pelvis, and how is our breath moving? Because that is that detailed experience that gets us into our body, that gets us into this place of intense tuned in consciousness. Because if you just say, I'm gonna get really bendy, then you've also opened up the door to pulling something. We're just doing like aerobic bendiness, and it's not really deepening our practice of connection with ourselves, our deep yoga. So our breathing practice today, it will continue to merge into our physical asana practice, our poses, and it's going to be slow, like one chord in a sun song slow. And you don't need to worry about taking in a lot of air and exhaling a lot of air. Obviously, that's not the best choice for a lot of us right now, just due to air quality, etc. But we do still need to breathe. So taking it slow, taking the force out of it, just letting it be an easy inhale and exhale. So your shoulders and wiggle them out and kind of shift in your seat a little bit. I'm seated on my pillows, so I really don't have to think about what's going on in the hips. It really helps to elevate and open up the pelvis, the foundation, and you can even just like lay back against your couch if your hips are feeling tight today. Just let this be a focus on your breath to start off with. Bring your hands down somewhere that's comfortable to you, palms up or down, doesn't matter, just listen to yourself. I'm feeling down today. Grounding, connection, action. And just one time, take an inhale, push it all out, and see how slow you can inhale. When it gets to the point where you're just feeling like that inhale is no longer serving you, just start exhaling. And don't think of like a volume or an expansion. You don't need to like get the balloon full and then get the balloon empty. You just keep taking air into the balloon and see what happens with it. At some point, my balloon doesn't need to be that big. I can start to let things start to escape. Not worrying about depth, but about duration and about that soft, easy quality. And this becomes a little bit more of that watching the breath exercise. Noticing this exchange. The only effort we really give is just to try to get it to last a little bit longer. And if you notice that you have maybe at one point a sharper, bigger inhale, taking it. If you notice you need to just kind of exhale with a little bit more effort, then allowing that. You can make a variance and then come back to this smooth, steady breath. Take 2 more full, long, smooth inhales and exhales. And when you finish that, take a little bit bigger breath in through your nose. And still easy, but exhale through the mouth. Again, just a full inhale through the nose, nothing too wild. As much effort as you feel inclined to, exhale. And for 3 ohms. And then you're going to start to come down onto your back. And you're going to set the pillows that you have underneath your hips. They're going to slide in underneath your hips. So go up on the bed. Go. So once you come down, I'm just going to lay down and slide your pillows underneath your hips. If you have 2 really, really big pillows, and just do one of them. You will still probably use 2 of them at some point in the future. You're just going to take your arms and open them out like cactus shape and let your knees roll over towards the right side. You're going to sleep over there? Good job. I'm just going to lay down here with the knees over. If this feels really intense in your back, and take your left knee and lift it up so you don't have to have quite as much twisting. In either place, just start to relax your left collarbone. Find a place where if you have to lift the left knee up, you just do that so your back doesn't bother you. If it feels good in the twist, that's also fine. But there's a little bit of lift that comes in the left collarbone. Just keep giving that lift permission to settle out. What does it feel like to soften that space? Noticing the difference in the feeling of your breath in your throat while you have this lift of your chest. There's a little bit of compression there. Breathing in, breathing out. And then start to take your knees over to the other side, so it'll either be both of your legs rolling over to the left or leaving your right knee up a little bit more. And this might create a pretty significant sensation around the lower back. So if you're getting that in any way that's unpleasant, just leave your right knee up and start to soften your right collarbone. Allowing the throat to relax. Still nice and easy with the flow of your breath. One more full inhale and exhale. And start to take the knees up. You're going to take your right leg up and just work around your ankle bones a little bit. See if you can spread out your toes as well, and then work around in the other direction. And then make the leg as straight as you can. You can hold on to it if you need to send the leg a little bit away, but if you can get the leg pressing right up towards the ceiling, can you push up with your foot and feel your hips press down into the pillow, which might start to fire up your core a bit. Can you keep your breath smooth and steady, even with this action? Foot pressing up, hip pressing down, belly a little bit engaged. Breathing in. Breathing out. One more inhale. Exhale. And then put your right knee on your left ankle. And you're going to take your right leg in and you're going to lift your legs up, and it's going to feel a little bit different. If this little bit different is too intense, you're going to put your foot down and just drop that knee out. This might give you a little bit easier way to get a little deeper into the outside and top of your right hamstring. Probably involving a lot less tension on the arms to draw the legs in. What does that feel like in the front of your chest and shoulders? And often find a lot of tightness in the front of the chest and shoulders in this reclined pigeon pose because you do like a grab in. You don't need to grab. The pillows are supporting you. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then you're going to release the left foot down and then take the right leg and just slide it down until you feel open on the front of your right hip. Drop the arms down. If this is bothering your back, then maybe slide your left foot out a little bit more. But that feels pretty nice. You just slide your left foot out a little bit more, and it's very passive, this opening to the front of the right hip. If you don't feel a lot and you'd like to feel a little bit more, just think of your belly gently drawing back and tilting the hip with it. Tilting upwards a little. One more breath. And start to slide your right foot back up and take your left leg up in the air. Make some circles around in your ankle bones and separate your toes. Move in both directions. And then make the leg as straight as possible. It doesn't have to get completely straight, and it doesn't have to get close to you at all. In fact, if I can get it mostly foot up to the ceiling and hip down towards the floor, I feel pretty good. Leg doesn't have to be super straight, but try for straight. You're going to push the foot up and feel your hips press down, which is probably going to also engage your belly down a little bit. So you're really lengthening through that leg, engaging in your center while also still allowing steady breath. It's okay if it's not as steady, but can you make it a little bit more steady? One more breath. And bend into your ankle, a knee, put the ankle on the opposite knee, and then the left arm goes in between. You've got your right leg. What this support underneath your hips is doing is kind of like it's tilting your pelvis so that gravity's working a slightly different way on the outside of your left hip. Just feel the softness in your cheeks, the ones on your face, maybe even the ones on your seat too, and the softness in your collarbones. One more full round of breath. And you're going to release your right foot down and take your left leg and slide it out and probably scoot your right foot a little bit further away than it was. And you can just stay here relaxing into the front of this left hip. Or if you start to tilt the pelvis back up and have a little engagement to your belly, don't do it to the point where the breathing is compromised, but it might help to extend this hip flexor, this psoas a little bit more. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more full round of breath. And start to slide your left leg up. Go ahead and roll yourself over off of your pillows. And then you're going to sit up on them again. Soles of the feet towards each other. Since I'm seated up on something, it's much easier for me to get my feet close to my hips. So don't worry about how close your feet get to your hips. Find a good space. Opening up these inner thighs. What you might do is move your feet a little bit further away, just kind of test it and see that I feel pretty supported and uplifted with my feet in close if my hips are up high. And then take your hands onto your ribs. We're going to do a little bit more breath work. See if you can feel I'm going to mirror you, your right ribs expand with your breath. And can you let your left ribs expand with your breath? And your right ribs. And your left ribs. And keep going side to side. I'm exaggerating it a little bit so that you can kind of see where that might go and how that might change what's going on in your body. Finish up whatever round you're on. And then you're going to take your left leg and extend it out, your toes up, slide your left hand down, and take your right arm over just slightly in front of your ear so it's more above your nose, and let your breath really move out into that right side of your rib cage. One more round of breath. And lift yourself up and start to switch your legs. Just heading out in the other direction a bit. So you'll reach out over your right leg, let your left arm come up and not above your ear, but just in front of your ear. So you can feel the space behind your shoulder blade. Breathe into that left side of your ribs. And relax. Inhale. Let it deflate. 2 more rounds of breath. Settle with your exhale. And come on up. I'm going to bring both feet in. So bring them in nice and tight. Your feet in as tight as is comfortable to you. It doesn't have to be quite as tight as mine are. Just feel your hips resting down, the backs of your ears lifting up, and thinking about your lower back. You can even take your hands into your lower back if that helps you, if that tactile connection with the body is useful. Just thinking of your lower back widening out, or thinking of your kidneys, your marvelous kidney protecting love handles widening out. Just bringing that intention, that quality into that space. And then all of us are going to move the feet a little bit further away. So it's going to allow a little bit more tilting forward in the pelvis. And then come down into this fold. I can like to rest my elbows against my shins if that becomes a reasonable alignment of my bones. And then you're going to rest into this fold. So find like the place almost before you feel a really big stretch, and then rest at that space. And notice what changes. So we'll take a really yin texture into this, very passive. Be here about 3 more breaths. Notice what's changed and if you need to make any adjustments in your seat. Start to lift yourself up. And we're going to transition into child's pose. And if you ever have noticed that having your hips floating up is not super comfortable, what you could do is you guys take like the pillows Kind of bring them in between your calves and your thighs. In fact, it just feels kind of nice actually. I'm gonna go for it. You don't have to, you can slide those away. We won't use them for just a little bit. We're gonna come into child's pose, wiggle around a little bit in the hips. And then when the hips feel settled, you take both hands over towards the right side of your mat, drop your head down, and just feel your right ribs expanding more as you inhale and then softening as you exhale. And obviously you're still breathing into both lungs. I'm not entirely sure that it is in any way feasible to restrict the breath to only one lung. They work as a pair. You can have this attention to what body part opens more. Just kind of feeling your ribs change and bringing that kind of quality and awareness and breath play in. One more inhale and exhale. And then bring your hands over towards the other side. Feeling maybe a little bit more expansion on that left side. And coming back to the center, you're gonna go ahead and lift yourself up. And we're gonna take the pillows, if you've had them around, go ahead and set them off to your side so they're kind of out of your way. You're gonna come in a downward facing dog. Go ahead and give yourself that cue to expand the palms, push into the fingertips, and then press back, kind of pedaling through your feet a little bit to stretch out the bottoms of the feet and the calves. From the armpits, push down into the hands. And start walking your feet to your hands and your hands back to your feet. Don't spend too much time in a fold. Just start to roll yourself up. When you get to standing, we'll start with a little side bend. Take your left foot behind your right. Reach up and hold on to your left hand and then bump your hips over towards the left side. Soften your ribs down and feel the fronts of your hips lifting up. So we're opening up this hip flexor, opening up the outside of the shoulder, and feeling maybe a little bit more breath moving in this side of your ribs. Push into that back foot. Breathing in. Breathing out. And lifting up. And switching the legs. So now you have your right leg crossed behind your left. Fancy moves optional. Okay, take your left or right arm over just slightly in front of you. So the fronts of your hips lift, the ribs relax down. And maybe you get a little bit more movement on this side. I'm not feeling as much as when I was seated or in child's pose. It's just an interesting place to play with. One more exhale. And then lifting up, releasing your arms and unwinding your legs. You're going to take your right foot forward and your left leg back. Show you this side. So we're in a lunge. You're going to take your arms up somewhere that's comfortable to you. And from the front of this hip space, you're going to lift up. A big inhale. Big exhale. And then from this lunge, you're going to transition to warrior one. So just turn that back heel down and make sure you didn't like tightrope yourself. You want to have that space where you can still open the front of this hip. A little bit different here. And then find a place where your body is set up so that you can have that slow, steady, easy breath. Good alignment of the front knee in the direction of the toes. It's a fairly familiar shape. Can you breathe that smooth, steady quality of the breath here? If you're into a challenge, try to stay low. If you need to unbend the leg for a moment, you're welcome to do that. We're going to transition to warrior two, so try to keep the bend in the front knee. Maybe you just scooch that left foot back a little bit. Oh, no, I'm not mirroring you. You're fine. You're in warrior two, though. Relax that right thigh bone back. Just a little bit. So the hips are tilted a little. We're not up here where things are tense. I'm giving a little bit more space in the body. Especially if you stayed low, this might start to have a little bit of the feels going on, and it might start to be a little bit tense, a little bit shaky. Can you smooth out the breath? If the answer is no, I need to straighten my leg for a moment, that's okay too. Breathing in. Breathing out. See if you can stay for one more round of breath. Straighten the leg. Bump those hips over and take your right hand down and your left arm up. Triangle pose. Opening the collarbones. Let that top hip tilt over gently. Can you balance the weight in your feet? We just held the arms up for a long time. If this is starting to feel tense, then just go ahead and take your hand to your hip. See if while you're here, developing that big stretch on the right thigh, that you can maybe allow that tailbone to reach back a little bit more to lengthen out through your spine. Breathing in. Breathing out. One more inhale. Exhale. Slowly come up. And then we're going to come to warrior one on the other side, so you can take the feet forward, and I'm just going to turn around here. We're not warrior one, we're in the lunge to start off with. So I've got the back heel lifted. I'm going to make sure that my knee isn't coming in, that it faces forward. I'm at a strong place. It's a long hold, but it's a familiar shape for most of us, for many of us. Lift the arms. And don't just hang out back here. Lift from the front of your hip up towards your heart. Even though this is strong, can your breath be easy? One more round of breath. And you're just going to take the back heel down. I need to scooch it out. Try to stay low. If you need to come out, come out. It's okay. See if you can challenge yourself to take long holds, building up good strength and bone density. Let your practice always keep that. One of my favorite quotes from BKS Iyengar, that quality, never the same pose twice. Every warrior one and warrior two and triangle pose is no more the same and no more boring than one-armed handstand or all of your crazy crow variations. See if you can stay low. It's fine if you don't. Open it up into warrior two. Got that relaxing of the left hip, because there's a little bit of pull, or sorry, the right hip. There's a little pulling of the left hip back. Why do I do that? Because I can feel now more of my glutes engaging. I know that that's opening up my front thigh. You might look over your fingertips. You can let your focus be at your fingertips. Maybe you take a space just out beyond your fingertips. Notice how your vision changes. Is your breath different at these focal points? See if you can stay for one more full round of breath. And then straighten the leg, bump the hips back so you have that tilt and tilt over. and come into triangle pose. As you open upwards or decide to bring your hand to your hip instead, we're going to keep lengthening the tail away from the ears and the ears away from the tail, opening up both collarbones. Standing strong on both feet. Can you really get the big toes engaged? I feel like that's so hard still in my practice. Like my feet just don't want to do it. Two more breaths. Big exhale. Draw your belly in, lift it up. We're going to turn all 10 toes to face forward. Come into a fold however it feels good to you. If you want to move around a little bit and let this be some of your more flowy serpentine kind of movement, you're welcome to do that. You can stay still, take hands behind your back, whatever feels good to you. Little bend into your knees. We're going to start to take it up. Take your time. And then once you get up, you're going to turn your heels in. You might bring them a little bit closer. Come down into this Buddha squat. Maybe starting arms open. Make sure that your pinky toes are rooted down, that your inner thighs are opening up. And I still got my big toes connected, but my pinky toes root. My pinky toes. Pinky toes. And you stay in the steady foundation of your legs. And maybe your arms move just as smooth as your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. If you need to come up, come up. See how smooth you can keep your breath in your arms. 2 more rounds. I don't know if I said that. Last one. Rest your arms down. Maybe rest your hips a little lower. And then stand up. And bring your feet in. And roll your feet around a little bit. Ooh, I feel very sturdy. I don't know if it's just the yob. I feel very on my hips, like how the music is. So would you wiggle around both of your hips? Your feet, those are feet. Good. We're gonna take a little standing flow as our balance, and it's gonna be real smooth. Maybe not real smooth, but it's gonna be real slow. And it's fine if it gets like weird and wiggly and you happen to kind of fall over. Notice things like that lifting that you want to keep going. Notice where the weight goes in your standing foot. We're going to take a little flow from foot to foot, and then we're going to pause. So when we pause, you're going to stay there as you exhale and you inhale, and then you'll set the foot down. I'll let you know when we get there. Go ahead and bring your hands to your heart. Standing up tall. Looking forward, spread your toes out. Relax them down into the mat. Feel the fronts of your hips lifting up. Let your exhale out. And see if you can take a slow inhale to slowly lift the right knee up. And slowly set the right foot down. And you shift and you slowly lift the leg up, but you don't settle back. You lift through the middle and slowly set the foot down. It's okay if you shift side to side, but can you stay lifted through your center as you slow lift and slow lower? It's hard. Like it's kind of okay to slow lift, but it's so hard to slow lower. You really just have to be very present there. No, it's like the timing of it is hard. The next time you take the right leg up, you're gonna hold on there. So you'll have the leg lifted. Stay there as you exhale. Stay there as you inhale. Keep the length, keep the quality. And then set the right foot down. Go ahead and switch side to side. Lift the left, set the left down. Lift the right, set the right down. Keep slowing it down. Do one more each side. And there we go. Last one. Lifting the left leg up. When you get it there, don't rush. Don't rush. Stay there as you exhale. Stay there as you inhale. See if you can still lower slowly as you exhale. Okay. I'm gonna take a squat. In the squat, you've got a couple of options. You can just sit down on your pillows, leave your knees wide, and hang out with your elbows in between your knees. Here's an idea though. If you notice any tension in your calves or your heels have a hard time getting to the ground, even if you do the fancy dance thing that I talk, like move your feet around so you find the right space, this can make a big difference. This way. So I'm just gonna put my heels on my pillow. If you have small pillows, you're gonna do 2. That way your feet are wide enough. And then you're gonna sit down. Oh, I still gotta do it. Into this squat. And even if it's easy for you to have your heels on the ground, this might just give your Achilles more space. And then you're going to keep the elbows pressing, the knees pressing, the feet pressing down. Can you recover that slow burn of your breath? Slow, steady flow. Big inhale, but nice and easy. Nice and easy exhale. One more round of breath. And conveniently, you probably have something that you can just go ahead and sit down on right now. And you have to use your hands and be awkward about it, that's fine. So, we are going to come into a one-legged forward fold, and we're going to stay there for like a really long time, like minutes, which can get kind of intense. I have a couple of options for you, and I'd like you to just pay attention to what's going on in your lower back. So take one of your legs and fold it in. You're going to stay seated on the pillow. I'm all the way on the pillow. I know I'm going to do better if I have the pillow only really behind the back half of my butt. I'm just going to start tilting the pelvis forward. You could even fold over your pillow. Oh, yeah, that's nice. And then your other one, so you're just going to use this to support your belly. Yeah? So just so my back doesn't have to work hard, that I don't have to crouch in. I'm going to bring this in so I don't really have to work. Stay forward. Oh, there it is. And then I'm just going to come to this easy place. I'm not as far forward in the fold as I could be, but I'm in some place where I don't have to put a lot of effort in. For me, this is a lot more of a back stretch at this point. If this isn't working in your back and you need to bend into your knee a little bit, you can do that. If you hate this, put it away. It's not necessary for you to sit there with anxiety over it. Just watching the slow flow of your breath. And watching your thoughts. When things come up and you have opinions or other things come into your cognition, just say, oh, okay, that too. And come back to your breath. Come back to this experience, this shape, this body. You have about another minute here. This has started to change a lot and you need to make some small fidget that's useful. You can do that. You can always do that. About 3 more breaths. And then starting to lift yourself up. You've got a pillow underneath your belly. Just take it away as you take a little twist. Just leisurely over either side. You're going to lift your toes up and you might bend your leg a little bit more towards you. You're going to come into this flow, just kind of noticing what's available to you and what feels more different about being a little bit more engaged, just a little. Last exhale. And start to come up. We're just going to switch to the other side. You want to have your pillow. Unless you decided it doesn't serve you and you're just going to rest in your own way. I do lots of rolling up of my things here. I'm not lifted. Just letting that foot be. And then coming out and resting down and forward. Noticing points of tension and resistance and saying, all right, what do I really need to do with that? Do I really need to relax that area or do I need to adjust my body? Can I be here in awareness of my breath and the sensations that come up? Got about 3 more breaths. And starting to back yourself up off of your pillow. Go ahead and set it off to your side. Take just a little baby twist. Just kind of loosening up a little bit. And then having this engagement, drawing the foot up, and then your body comes forward. I'm even bending my knee a little bit here. I'm feeling more opening in my thigh that way. Listen to those little cues, those little clues your body gives you. Breathing in. And taking your time to breathe out. And coming up. You're going to take your pillows off to the side. You might use them. You might find them beneficial. We're going to come into pigeon pose. I want you to give yourself the opportunity to be supportive here. I have to be honest with you, some of the best pigeon setup I ever got was from prenatal training, where you put 1 or 75 pillows underneath your pelvis and my foot is in front of my pillow, and then I have this thing lifting me up, and then because I have that support underneath, there's so much allowing me to relax. Like my body for some reason seems to get this message like, oh, you have permission to open here. In fact, well, I'm gonna do 2. Why not? And if you hate this, you don't have to. You could have just a pillow back underneath just your right hip. Oh, yeah, that feels so good. Me too. If you feel inclined. Pigeon is a place where a lot of things get opened up. There's a lot of like feels that we hold in our hips, not just tightness.
When things come up, when the thoughts start pouring in, just say, ah, yes, that too, and keep trying to come back to the breath, not speedily pushing yourself back to the breath. Come back to the breath with the same sort of gentle, meandering, slow, smooth quality that you're giving to your breath. This is another long hold. If you need to be on your back with your ankle on your knee, that's what you do. You could even come into swan pose too, where you have this hip all the way down, kind of resting over. That's perfectly acceptable, especially if your back is okay with it. I wouldn't do it with these pillows underneath, though. I would take those away. Relaxing the right thigh bone back. One more full, long inhale and exhale. And then you're going to start to come up. From here, it's going to be a little bit weird. You're going to have to move your pillows. And that might not have been very graceful. But then you're going to take your left knee and you're going to tuck it up behind your right knee. And you're going to sit back. And probably you're going to say, wow, I want those pillows. Because this is a really intense shape. I've got knee on top of knee. I'm on the pinky toe edges of my feet. You grab those pillows. Just makes a big difference. And being okay with being seated. All right. Now, if your knees are bothering you, especially that bottom knee, I want you to extend that leg out or leave it in. If you are having a difficult time breathing in this position, you're just going to come to Sukhasana easy seat. That's just crisscross applesauce. Then you can sit up on your pillows. What you might do. Let's take a little breathing exercise. We're going to do it once on this side, and we'll do it again on the other side. So you're going to take your ring finger and your thumb. You're going to put your thumb on your right nostril and your ring finger on your left nostril, but don't press. We're going to alternate it. So you're going to press your ring finger into your left nostril, breathe in through your right nostril, and then close the right nostril, breathe out through your left nostril. We're going to do this circular, so you're going to close the left, inhale through the right, close the right, exhale through your left. Keep going, inhale through the right, exhale through the left. 6 more, total of 9. You're welcome for the distraction from your wound up legs and crazy hip posture. Or I'm sorry, whichever way you want to take that. You finish up that 9th round. You're gonna drop your hands, take an inhale and exhale. And if you need a tissue, just go grab a tissue. It's okay. We've got lots of time to make it into pigeon on the other side. Go ahead and start making our way there. Adjustments of limbs and stuff. Okay. I've got these pillows right underneath. Notice my foot is in front of and not underneath. So I can have my thigh out to the side. And then coming down. There's a nice long pigeon hold. Something interesting, there's like this dualistic whatever you need quality to very deep hip opening practices. Like if you're feeling very disoriented, they really help bring you in to ground you. Call your dog over. And also, when we are too stuck in ourselves, and we're spending a lot of time indoors, the hips get really tight. They become restrictive. So we loosen them up, we feel a little bit more open, more adaptable to our circumstances from that open, grounded place. Here for about 3 more breaths or so. When you finish that round of breath, start to lift yourself up. You're gonna have to take the pillows out of the way for a little bit so you can take your right knee up behind your left knee, and then you're gonna sit back probably onto your pillows unless you decide you don't want them or need them. They don't serve you, that's okay. You could sit crisscross applesauce. I'm gonna turn a little bit. This is called shoelace in yin and cow face in yang or hatha practices, yang practices. The same shape. You just hold it for a really long time, and then we get to call it a shoelace. Still using your right hand. There's just a respect for cultural significances when we use our right hand for pranayama and not the left. So your index finger and middle finger will go in towards the base of your hand, and you'll close the right nostril as you inhale. Taking your time to open the left nostril, close the right, exhale. Keeping this circular pattern going. We have 9 repetitions. This is number 2. Closing the left, inhaling through the right. Closing the right, exhaling through the left. Close the left, inhale through the right. Close the right, exhale through the left. Keep going. When you think you've gotten to 9 or you've just about had enough of that, you'll just go ahead and let this go. Feeling the air, the breath moving through both nostrils. And we'll start to unwind the legs. Take both legs out in front of you. You want to be seated more at the very end of your pillows, so just that back half of your hips are lifted. You're going to take your right leg in and hold it to you, or cross it over the left. Bring your right hand somewhere comfortable to you. Hug the left thigh. And let this belly fall in as you twist with open collarbones, lifting behind the ears, softening your breath as you exhale into the twist, softening your belly. One more round of breath. And then twisting the other side. Go ahead and unwind your right leg, draw the left leg in. You could cross it over if that serves you, just bringing this left hand somewhere close so that you're still lifted as you soften your belly, soften your lower ribs in, open your collarbones as you twist over towards the left. Breathing in. Breathing out. Releasing your twist. You're going to start to come down onto your back. You're going to move these pillows off to the side a bit. Come down. Bringing your feet in. Heels up close to your hips. Wiggle your shoulders underneath your back. Push your hips up in the air. And a little opening here in bridge pose. Push into your feet. Maybe you wiggle your arms in further. Hold hands underneath your back. Whatever helps you feel supported and open. One more inhale. Exhale, releasing the shoulders, softening the hips down. You're going to come into happy baby. You'll take your feet up. Maybe you're like, I wonder what the pillows would feel like underneath my hips here. You might not like it, just scooch them. You can rock a little bit side to side. When you feel like you've had enough, bring those feet in. You're going to take your pillows, you're going to slide them up right underneath your thighs, feet on the other sides of the pillows, and open your knees up. You can take a hand onto your belly and onto your heart as you open up these inner thighs. If this is too much, you can do just one leg at a time. Letting this relax rather than having a lot of strain if there's strain here. If you've had just one side open, take a gentle shift. We'll come back to the center. Go ahead and slide the legs out. Let the arms drop down by your sides. If this is a good Shavasana shape for you, you'll just kind of hang out here. If you should have the knees more bent, if you want to take the pillow away, if you'd rather take a seated meditation. You've got lots of options, including legs up against the wall. Maybe there's another pose that you need.
When to love more. During hard times. Not on good terms times. When it is too difficult and not easy times. At the lowest point, wanna give up times. For love in those moments multiplies love infinity times. You are loved not because you are easy, but because you are there for the challenges when it matters most. Anyone can love temporarily, but your love is forever. Love doesn't matter when it's easy. That is shallow love that soon fades. You deserve that deep water, pitch black, no bottom love, where you can't see where it ends and it just goes, and you learn from each other how to tread water, how to read the waves, how to hold your breath. And when it gets too much, you go underwater together, giving air, no matter, to the ocean floor and the ocean surface. That's that love. It's good to come back to your breath, back into your body. Finding some small movements that help you to feel more connected and more awake. And take your time rolling yourself over to one side, offering gratitude for coming onto your mat today, for having this opportunity to practice together. On your own time, find your own version of a comfortable seat. Bringing your hands together at your lifted, open heart. We'll seal our practice, releasing an Om together. Take a nice, easy, sweet breath in. Bowing down to the love inside of each of our hearts, the light and the darkness. Namaste. Well, that was just too stinking cute, Miss Jessica. Thanks for being here, friends. I'm gonna scooch up with you. Come here. The reading that I gave today was from Love Language by Adrian Michael Green. It's really awesome. They're on Insta and they're a really great writer, poet, cool stuff just to look at and have like good things. So that's there if you care. Thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you. Can you put the name of the book in the chats?
Yeah, let me do that. Ooh.
Oh, actually, does anyone know if you can access the chats after the session?
Yeah, you can save them in the little box. You see those 3 dots in the upper corner? Click on those and you can save the chat and it'll just save it as a text file on your computer.
Very good. Yeah, thank you.
I've been doing way too many Zooms. Jessica was so cute in class.
She's still figuring out the world right now. I don't know what she's gonna be like when she's like sorted out about her existence here, but we'll see.
How old is she?
About 4.5.
Yeah, she looks older.
Yeah.
Or like, not like old, but not a puppy.
Yeah, she's not a puppy.
Yeah. But yeah, that was so cute when she like walked up to you.
Oh, I'm like, what do you mean you're right there? Oh my gosh. Yeah, she's adorable. Good at it. Alright.
Yeah, I really like what you read just now.
Yeah.
It's great. I highly recommend this. It's amazing. He self-publishes and it's awesome. And even just the Instagram account, like check it out. It's pretty great.
It's called Love Language? Is
Love
the book.
language. Yeah. It's got like I think like 20 books. Like they're all just like short prose poem stuff. You can see that. There it is.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I have to have an extra light in here right now because there's no sunlight. So sorry.
That's okay. I have this weird glare from the window. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. Take care. Everybody be safe and stay home.
Lots of love.
Lots of love, everybody. Thank you all. Let me know if you need anything, if you have thoughts, requests, etc.